Perfect. All right, welcome everybody. Today is Tuesday, June 11th. This is our weekly habitat triage. Looks like we have about 4 issues to review and some PRs. Let's kick this off. So, an issue here where the Windows supervisor seems to stop reporting census data randomly. Looks like this was introduced in 0791. Yeah.
I looked at that briefly, and I didn't. Nothing rose up as apparent. Like he actually shared with me offline some of his census data, and it all looked legit. So basically, he's got nodes saying that the nodes where the services are running say that they're alive. Nodes where the services are not running and are trying to bind to those services say that they're not alive. But without some serious, basically we need to do some serious digging there. I'm not sure why that's the case, but it definitely sounds like it's absolutely a legit issue, since he's definitely having that experience.
Okay.
Was this reported, looks like, before we added the logging for potentially deadlocked threads? It'd be interesting to see if it still occurs with a newer version, and if we see anything spitting out the threads that look like they're deadlocked.
That would be an 82.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that was just coming out in 82.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great, Matt, if you could ask him to take a look with the...
Yeah, I'll ask him to update, see if it still occurs under the update.
Okay, and if he still running into it, the improved logging might shed some light that there's maybe some deadlocks going on.
So just so I'm clear, John, so if that is the case on 82, like it'll be logging in the supervisor log saying I'm deadlocked or something to that effect.
Yeah, what it'll print out. Well, actually, I can't remember. I think it got moved to warning level now, so we need to make sure that we're running with warning level logging at least, and it'll print out the name of the thread that it hasn't heard back from, and the configured threshold, and just say like this thread name is probably deadlocked. Haven't heard from it in such amount of time.
Okay. That's just the normal rest log warning level, or?
I think so. I think the normal one is things greater than info, but
Is that warning or trace?
Yeah, if they're seeing other stuff that is at the warn level, then probably good.
Was it warning or trace, or which one's more?
It got changed to trace, and then it got changed back again to warn, I think. Anyway, that's another discussion.
Yeah, it's warning, and we kind of found out that there's actually quite a bit what we can do with just the Rust log parameters. So maybe we didn't even need it to be a warning, but it was pretty annoying with an error. So.
Well, it didn't need to be warning because it originally had parameters to configure how frequently you want it to check and what the threshold is for considering a deadlocked, and that was in the original code. So
yeah. So, anyways, yeah, feel free to change it as you wish, because we have workarounds, but it's there now. So.
But by default, Rust should print out warning level logging, right? Because the default is info, so anything up over.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't have to change any, unless he's set it to error.
It was set to error. Yeah, it was set to error. So
now default set to error.
yeah, initially it was an error. Now it's a warning. It seems like a bit better middle ground, maybe just as a long-term thing. But either ways,
Okay. So it seems like tell him to have him upgrade his version of Habitat to latest 82.
yeah.
Retry, and if ensure that the logging is set to at least warning.
Yeah.
And check for deadlock errors in the standard log.
Yep.
Okay. Matt, you'll type that up to him?
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right, thank you. On-prem builder install stalls out after habs up install.
Yeah, this turned out to be a proxy issue. I've never seen the specific issue that they ran into, so it might merit adding it to the doc as a troubleshooting step. But
Okay.
the issue itself, they've resolved.
Okay. And let's do that. It's fun when the UI gets warped. It's like guessing what to do. Is there a documentation tag or label?
There's one.
What's that?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a doc label.
Okay. Let's update. What was the thing you had him do?
Well, I had him just check his proxy settings because looking at the logs, it looked like it was a proxy, it was a connection issue. And so they basically were able to, fix the proxy, I guess.
That's not how you spell error.
Something.
All right. Only the original creator of an origin may add new members with owner level access.
Yeah, I think this is by design, but our origin management needs some rethinking and needs some work. So we have, I think we have a epic for it somewhere. So I think we should accept this and review it as part of that.
What is this? Excuse me. Depths, build depths should be commented out and plan in it.
I saw that come across today. That seems like for sure a valid, because the idea with the plan in it, you want it to work without any changes. Like you should be able to build, you should be able to do plan in it and build it without an error. It won't build anything meaningful, but it shouldn't error on you. Oh wait, that's not the issue here though.
No, the issue is that it's an optional thing, but we're not marking it as optional. So
yeah.
Oh, okay. So just updating the template to comment out these couple lines for.
Yeah.
Is this in the context of scaffolding or a normal init? It wasn't quite clear.
So it has plan in it.
For me, this is my personal opinion, in the context of have plan init outside of scaffolding, I feel it's more important to have package deps and package build deps be explicit of what you are depending on, rather than being commented out by default and relying on what plan build may give you, which is nothing. That's just my opinion, since that's kind of a key bit in Habitat.
Or if it's optional and we're calling out all the other ones that are optional as commented, isn't that inconsistent to do that?
Then
It's just that it's confusing people about
I think we could clear up the message there. Maybe my opinion is just for core plans only. But I do. My personal thought is that those depths should be explicit, even if they're empty.
Right. So there could be a comment stating that basically,
Yeah.
right? And that should be sufficient, probably.
Maybe the right thing to do would be able to take out the depths, like just make it an empty array, because like we shouldn't assume that those are the depths that they're going to want. But if we, like, it does seem fair to say you should have depths. I mean, unless they're working on something really low level, but just having an empty array seems like a good.
Yeah.
Would that have impacts with scaffolding if you had an empty array there and scaffolding had depths defined? Or
So I think scaffolding you can not include those. I think is the right thing to do by default for scaffolding.
So if you do a plan init and then you decide to include scaffolding, you'd have to come in here and comment out package depths and package build depths.
So
I don't remember the interaction there with scaffolding and build depths, or package depths. But I definitely agree we could clear up the messaging there.
Is that, where does this fall under? Plan build?
yeah,
CLI, actually?
yeah, maybe both.
All right, so we want to update the template to remove or to only include. Oh. Does that seem fair to everybody?
Yeah, it seems fair, but it still might confuse people if it's not consistent with how we're tagging the other optional properties.
That's true.
But I mean, if you want to start with that, that's fine.
And what's the concern with just commenting it out like we have the other ones?
I think Scott's concern is that they're so important that maybe.
Yeah, I feel they're pretty important to the habitat build process. They're optional in that package build will function without them, but I personally, at least from the core plans perspective, I don't view them as optional.
Well, I don't know of any core plan that has no dependencies, other than maybe very few. Right?
There's a few that have one or the other empty.
I guess the thing that occurs to me though is that if they left them as optional and they were needed, like let's say somebody submitted a core plan and they left them as optional, when our builders go to build them, like they'll fail. So like so it's not like we're without feedback, that there's a defect in the plan.
No, in fact, the process will be probably that they try and build it themselves, right? Before you even get to connect with the builder, you give it a shot.
But wait, are you saying that it would fail before it even got to builder?
Yeah, because you do a local build, right? You say have plan init, you update it with some stuff, and you say.
Yeah, I mean, depending on the state of their studio or their build environment, like it's possible that they could have been linked to something that would cause the build to succeed, but in a clean environment, like our builder environment, or any normal CI, that should fail, since those dependencies wouldn't be present.
Yeah, I mean, your point is that there's backups if they mess up, and that's true.
Yeah, I wonder if the banner. Oh, go ahead.
I was say, I guess I would lean toward commenting them out, because while I agree with Scott in that it's important, I think that if you comment them out, and that should break your build, and that's your feedback. Oh, you're missing some dependencies, and if we don't comment them out, then that could make the whole writing, templatizing the init just much more complicated, because then we have to figure out, okay, are you in a scaffolding context? Are you not in a scaffolding context? Do we comment this? It makes that template more straightforward to omit.
That's fair, Matt.
Okay. You can't spell, especially if you're watching. Template T? No.
I call that someone is watching me typing syndrome.
Someone help me here. Template how about Howie template be plan init. Let's comment out. Oh, this is brutal. It's gonna live on the internet forever. Optional dependency parameters. I probably should have thanked the person for their issue. All right. Let us tag this to the backlog labels. And also I can mark this for help wanted, since that's something someone could do pretty easily. All right. I believe that's all our triage issues, and habitat. Pull PRs here that aren't assigned to anybody. Generally, I just go through and look for ones that are community-driven ones. So our first one here is Scott's. We have a couple for Matt, and we have one community. And
I'm in the middle of reviewing that.
excellent.
It's our second contribution from Qubit Renegade.
Awesome. All right. So think that was all the PRs for Habitat. Excuse me. Builder is all internal PRs. And we have an on-prem Builder PR on a documentation update. Have you taken a look at this yet, Salim?
Salim, you're muted if you're talking.
Yeah, sorry, I was just saying I need to look at it and give a thumbs up.
Okay. What do you do when autocomplete fails you? All right, and then finally, core plans. Scott, is there anything that we should look at here?
Nothing that we need to look at, but we are starting to prep work for core plans refresh. There's notes in the Habitat Slack core plans dev about how we're going to be approaching it this time.
And thank you for writing up those notes.
And just to be clear, we don't have a timeline for when we'll do that work. We're going to be iterating on it, and as we get closer, we'll firm up those plans.
Okay. Anything else for triage this week? All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I will see y'all next week.
Thanks,
I'll see you
everyone.
before that. Thank you, everybody.